Hello and welcome. I am Leslie Nunnery, and I am here with my dear friend Rachael Carman, and we are so excited to introduce this journey to you and try to hold your hand a little bit as you're getting started, hopefully give you some confidence to do what God has called you to do.
Leslie, you and I have been friends for a long time now, at least 4 or 5 years.
Exactly.
Would you tell the women who are watching this, hopefully the dads, maybe the grandparents that are watching, a little bit about your background, how you got into this journey and where it's taken you now? How's God been faithful?
You know, the decision to homeschool was really, in hindsight, probably the most important decision outside of salvation and who I married that our family has made. Because in God's providence, at the end of our first year of homeschooling, he called my husband to go full-time into the ministry, and he called our family to start Teach Them Diligently, which are homeschool conventions, which the irony of us doing that at the end of our first year of homeschooling is not lost on me. But as I look back, just taking that simple leap of faith, back as my oldest son was about to enter 4th grade, has so fundamentally blessed our family and changed our family and opened doors that we would have never imagined. I mean, my children have been on mission trips and have been able to do things that they could have never, ever done otherwise. And God has used home education as a channel to allow us to do that. And it's been just incredible. And it's also exciting to see what he's done with you and your family through homeschooling.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride. I mean, who would have thought that a mechanical engineer and a high school teacher, which was my husband and I, who had, you know, at the time we only had 3 kids, now we have 7, would have ever ended up owning Apologia, a homeschool curriculum publishing company. I mean, it's just the journey that God has taken us on has just been incredible. It's like discovering that there's a whole nother world out there.
Right.
But that has been what it's been for us, has been like for you, and that is, I never would have dreamed that this decision, which I only thought was short term, would have done what it's done to change us as people. I mean, it's truly been a sanctification process, but change our marriage and change our children. And it's just been incredible what God has done on this journey.
Well, and the relationships that you're able to build with your children.
Yes.
That is another thing that you can't read in a textbook and fully understand.
No.
We were talking earlier, as our older kids are away, and whether they be at camp or at work or whatever, it thrills my heart to no end the fact that I am constantly getting texts and pictures of what's going on because they want to be involved with us. It really flies in the face of everything that you hear about teenagers and so on, because you can have a close family.
You can.
And God really knits those relationships through this journey largely.
Yeah, and their relationships with each other too. I mean, that's
absolutely.
what's so incredible. I mean, I've got 4 graduated, but 3 like out of the house. So Georgia, New York City, and now Idaho. So across the country. But even their conversations with each other and the texts that fly through, or I'll talk to one and they'll say, I was just talking to my brother. It's just incredible. So this is the journey that God's taken us on, and we want to invite you on this same journey with these videos, these conversations. We're inviting you into our living room, not really, but a pseudo living room for us, where we're having conversations because I remember when I was first starting, and I didn't have this.
Right, no.
You know, I didn't have this. And so we're imagining that there may be many of you out there that need these conversations that we want to have. They're raw, they're honest.
Absolutely. But they come from a combined 27 years of homeschool experience, as well as talking to people all across the country and trying to determine what are some of the questions that we see a lot of, and how can we help you just by addressing some of those things. Now, how can these families get the most out of this curriculum? What are some tips that we could give them as they're jumping in for the way that it's set up and how they can really effectively get the most out of it?
So I would say, first of all, don't rush this. I would say take your time. Listen to these, watch these, share these. So take time, but don't rush it. It may be that some of these new ideas are brand new to you, and you might even feel your brain cramping because it really is a whole new world. And so take your time watching them. And I would say, secondly, take notes.
Absolutely.
You know, write down what jumps out at you. Write down the different ideas. We may have some reference points, some things that you might want to look up along the way. So make sure you write those down. But probably the most important is take heart.
Amen.
You can do this. You really can do this.
If we can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm here to tell you. And not only that, I would suggest to you should. If you're watching this, I would say that the Holy Spirit's already moving, and you should do this.
Yes. Now, we have set these videos up where they are just 10 to 15 minutes each. So we know that your time is valuable, and we also know that when we were starting out, there's no way we could have sat down and watched a 5 or 6 hour course.
Right.
So we took that into consideration, and these are just bite-sized classes because we really want you to be able to absorb one before moving on to the other.
And we're hoping that they're engaging in content, and yet you're probably going to have questions along the way. But we want to cover, like, where do you start and how do you pick out curriculum from all of the choices you have? Who are your kids and how do you get to know them? How do you organize all of this? You know, what laws do you need to know? What organizations? There is so much to sort through. And so we want to be a place where you can come and get your feet wet and sort of start to understand some of these things and yet go beyond these videos and these conversations and get more information. So we really hope that they bless you, and we want to hear from you. So we hope that you'll let us know what your questions are, what we could explain further as we go forward in these discussions on the website. So we look forward to seeing you there, and really hope that you're blessed by this.